All right, hello everybody. Today I have a little thing for you. It's a short story that I read. I went over. I don't check Goodreads that often, but every once in a while I'll go over there. And I went over there a couple of days ago, and someone had actually taken the time to put a couple of reviews on some of my short stories. And so I thought, well, what the heck? I'll take a look at some of this person's short stories and see what I can see. I've read. They have two things posted. I read one of them so far, and that's what I want to talk about today. It's a story called Tumble. It's very short. It's on my phone it's like 20 screens, and there's a lot of white space in those screens. It's available, as far as I can tell, only at Kobo. So I'll put a link in the description for that. But it's kind of like I'd say 10 to 15 minute read, something like that. But the thing about it is that it was actually really surprisingly fascinating. I finished reading it, and the thing that I immediately did after reading it was actually to go back and read it again from the start, because it starts out in a very kind of banal atmosphere. Everything is kind of boring. There's a few things that are boring but distinct, right? Lydia Schoch is, or I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, but anyway, she's describing things that are normal-ish, but there's reasons behind them being not normal that you get later in the story. There's this very gradual kind of escalation. The story starts out very banal, and then it gets kind of like, oh, that's interesting. That's curious. I wonder what that's about. And then then the strange things start to pile on bit by bit by bit until the end, where it's like, oh, I didn't expect that to be the way that this goes on. So it was good. It actually kind of surprised me, the ending, to the point where I was like, okay, well, this ended like this. I must have missed. I must have missed some details early on that link up to this somehow. And it was true that I missed some, but it wasn't that I missed a whole lot. It was just that there were a couple little points where it's like, oh, I can see how that kind of connects up. The writing is crisply detailed, but there's a lot of care taken to ensure, how do I put this? To put the detail in places where it is inconspicuous, almost. There are lots of little adjectives and description words that go on the description of physical things that appear in the story that are fairly benign. The brittle grass, the icy brittle grass, icy dew on the brittle grass of an early winter morning kind of thing. It's got strong sensory language everywhere you would expect it, and it's missing, I think deliberately, in a few places where you would want more. The descriptions have this sense of being slightly askew, that there's something weird about them, but you can't quite put your finger on it. And I think it's very well done, and it ties in, and all these kind of slightly weird descriptions end up tying together in a pretty interesting way, or unexpected way, at the very end of the book. When I finished reading the book, I was like, okay, well, I got to go back and read this again. And fortunately, it's a 15-minute book, 15-minute story, so it's fairly easy to go back and reread it a second time. But I did need to do that because I went in and it catches you off guard. Just the way that the story starts is like, oh, okay, whatever. It's kind of a slice of life thing going on, and then it's like, oh, it's not a slice of life story at all. What I'll say is that I put this. I did text reviews of it too, but what I kind of said is that the coolest thing that a short story can do is actually make you wonder at the end of it, right? There are short stories that have a surprise ending, and you're just like, okay, cool. That's there were three possible endings that I expected for this, and this was one of them. I was surprised that it was this one, because I would have expected it to maybe be one of the other two, but it's a surprise ending, but it's not a surprise ending. At the end of this story, I kind of wondered, and I sat back and I was like, well, what elements of the world are going on? What are we not being told? And it's clear that there's a lot of deliberate omission in the story. It's one of those things where you get you get there are really only two characters in the story, and some of what one character says are just kind of like cryptic, and it's like, well, why are, and so your mind, the gears in your brain start twirling around, and you're like, well, does that have something to do with this? Does that have, and you'll find that there are some connections, and there are some things that are kind of left unconnected in a way that also makes me kind of be like, I wonder if I'm missing the link. You know what I mean? Something like that. So I don't want to make this a super duper long video because it'll take you longer to watch this video than it will to go read the story. Go check the description. Story is there. It's free. Go give it a read. I think you'll find it interesting if you like kind of like creepy, not horror, but like creepy stories, something like that. You'll probably find it interesting. And hopefully you'll find it fascinating as I did. So that's what I've got for today. Go take a look at Tumble by Lydia Schoch, and hopefully you will enjoy it as much as I did, and have a good rest of your week. I will try to put something else out later this week, but I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be yet, so we'll see. Anyway, have a good one, and I will see you next time.